This is Dwarf Goat's Beard, and I love pressing the leaves. They have really interesting edges, and they've got a nice color. And they look really well pressed. They also get a little flower stem like you see here. Now these have already flowered and gone away. So these are going towards the seeds. They're more of a whitish, off-whitish color when they're in bloom. But again, these are all done. They've passed their peak, but the leaves are still really nice to work with. Heather comes in many different varieties, and this is good for pressing. They hold their color for a long time. They're a little bit more bulky, but they're worth giving it a try. I really like them. When I pick them, this one, for example, is in really good condition, ready to press. And what I'll do is, you can see how the back has the stem, and the flowers in this example are growing on this side, and I just simply lay them flat and then press them down, and they'll press like that. The other thing I do for mini arrangements is I will take my hand and strip off the flowers and then scatter them around on the page, and then I'll dry them individually, and they make really good little florets for using for accents. So here's one kind ready to go, and I'll show you a couple more. Here's another one. It's a little more pink. It's late summer. These are summer heather. There's also winter heather. We have ones in the winter heather family called Mediterranean that are also good for pressing. Here's another one, a little different color. The bees really like heather. Here's another one that's just getting started. It's a little bit more spiky, and the flowers are not quite as exciting. I probably won't be pressing this one, but I just wanted to show you. Here's another one that's basically done. You can see how much brown is in it. But what I did with these is, because there's so much mass here, I don't tend to press this all together. This is a good one for stripping the flowers off and then pressing the individual florets. This heather is a lighter color. It's a little bit more spindly. And outside of using the individual florets, I'll press a few of these to use where I want something more wispy in arrangement, but generally I'll use the florets. These have nice ones because you see the edge on the flower there. It's got a nice shape to it. So for small arrangements, this would work out really well. I call this one the pom-pom heather. I don't know what the real species name is. I can't remember. That's because these things remind me of a ball or pom-pom. They're a little bit thicker than some of the other heathers. In other words, it feels hard in there. And so they're more difficult to press. I will press them because they're kind of fun, but they don't flatten as well. So there's a lot of water in this too, although things are damp this morning. But I just wanted to show you that this is very pretty. It's thicker, it's a little bit hard in there. It won't press quite as flat and nice as some of the other heathers, but it's worth giving it a try. Here's another heather. These florets are pretty small, and they work good in really mini arrangements. Oh, there's a bee. Oh, Mr. Bee, I want that flower blossom. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. But as you can see, they grow all around. So they're going to be a little bit more bulky unless you take the best side and take off some of the stuff from the back. Take some of the bulk out if you want to press it. And then go ahead. But what I really like to do with these actually is strip the florets off and then press them. And when they're dry, they look really good, and they're wonderful in the super small arrangements because they do have such small florets. Here's another one. You can see it grows more spiky than the Mediterranean heather, which is a winter heather that's tucked in around it, and more of a lavender blossom, more silvery foliage. Anyway, it's one thing there's a lot of around here, different kinds of heather. Here's another one, but there's no flowers on it right now, over there, with a more yellowish tinge to the foliage. This is a form of a mallow, and they're beautiful to look at, and they will press. The only thing is that they're going to be very sheer. It's going to be like tissue paper, a really, really, really thin tissue paper, and it can make an interesting design element. They won't hold their color a super long time, but they'll hold it for a while. But see, there's not so much water in. They don't just fall apart when you squeeze them in your hand. So it's a candidate for pressing. It's just that the press really sheer. And I'll show you another example of something that presses well but will turn out very sheer. This is a form of a hollyhock, and as you can see, it's got beautiful veining in it, absolutely gorgeous. And if I'm pressing these, you can either press them in profile like that, or you can press individual petals. And again, now these actually would lead you to think that they don't press well, but they actually do. But what happens is that they become very sheer. You can also press these little buds, and they look really pretty.